What's up, everybody? Welcome to Move the Sticks. DJ Buck with you. Buck, what is going on, man?
No, man, just a great football weekend on the horizon. I love this time of year because everything is in full earnest. You got the NFL is in swing. Now we're getting to a good part of ball because we're more than 5 weeks into it. So people have kind of settled in. You can see their identities. And then in college football, we are right in the center of the competitive conference races where now we begin to see these big matchups. We're seeing people beginning to build momentum to the college football playoff. So it doesn't get any better than this.
I want to ask you a question I was asked the other day, which is an interesting conversation, which was, and this full disclosure, was talking with Brock Heward, and Brock said he didn't remember when he was playing, late 90s, early 2000s, as many guys missing practices and games as we see now. Like he just felt like some of these injury reports are insane. Mm-hmm. So I'd just be curious from your time playing and then from even the early scouting stuff, if you think it's different with that mm-hmm. and why do you see it?
I think it's different because I still believe, I love all the sports science and all the other stuff. But DJ, there's still a part of me that believes old school methods still work. Mm-hmm. And, it's funny. I heard Terrence Crawford talk about this when he was preparing for Canelo, that you can't be ready for a fight without sparring. And I think sometimes we do a disservice to our teams by not taking them through the rigors to prepare them to play. And what happens is, every Sunday when you go to a game, unless you've been to a pro game, I don't think people understand how fast and how physical it is. And you have to prepare your team to be able to operate at that level. And sometimes that means a more rigorous training camp. Sometimes that means a more rigorous off-season program to get your team ready to handle what's ahead. During the season, you can take off the pads, do some of those things, but you got to get the team ready. And I don't know if players are fully ready. And I don't know if some team builders prepare their teams to be ready for the grind. But the grind is real, and your team has to be ready for the marathon that the NFL season is.
Yeah, I think that's one part of it for sure. I agree. We talked about, you used to be calloused. Like you just kind of build up that callus and then you could withstand it. But the other thing I was thinking of was bigger picture. And I see it, I don't know how it is across the country, but obviously as a high school coach in California, when we were kids, like if you made the playoffs in high school, it means you had a really good year. Mm-hmm. Now in high school, we had a team in San Diego that won CIF, went 0-10. They went 0-10. And then so that lowered them way down the divisions, and they went and beat up on some smaller schools and won a championship after not winning one regular season game.
Yeah.
If you look at now college football, used to, man, you lose one game in college football, 2 games.
Dunzo.
Rose Bowl, no nothing. Like that ruined your whole season. Now 12 teams in the playoff, everybody gets the bowl game, all this kind of stuff. If you look at the NFL, added a wild card. Basketball, NBA, half the freaking league gets in the playoffs. You look at baseball, they added a wild card. So the emphasis and importance on the regular season is gone. Like these kids have grown up since high school, Buck, going, all that matters is that I'm healthy once we get to the playoffs. Like I don't need to be stuff.
DJ, I didn't think about that. But it's funny, right? Because I'm gonna be honest with you, and I pride myself in being a baseball fan. Like the baseball playoff format this year, I was like, whoa, wait, how many win? Like best of 3, best of 5, what's going on? And you operate with a different urgency when you have the fallback of, hey, man, we just need to be top 7. We just need to be top 8. Hey, let's just get in the thing and see what it looks like. So you make decisions based on that as opposed to there are only 4 teams going. You got to go. I need you to go. I need you to make it. And so some of the load management things or some of the things that if it's questionable, hey, we'll sit you out as opposed to, hey, we need you to play is different. But you're right. People operate differently. They play differently when there's an urgency and there's like a hard and fast line in terms of making it or not making it. And yeah, I do think that I won't say it's ruined the game, but it's changed the game when it comes to the way that we go about it, even coaching with an urgency. Because before you used to coach like it's all or nothing. If we don't win this game, it's over. We could be talking about a game in the second week of September. If we lose this, it's over. Mm-hmm. It's not the same thing. Now you can play anybody we lose, we get better. Let's get down the stretch. It's changed.
I'd be curious to go back and look at the numbers before they added the extra wild card in the NFL. And it was only a 16-game season. But the percentage of players who played 16 games versus now, even though there's 17 games, if we just said how many players in this current format play 16 of the 17 games, I'd be shocked if they weren't playing, more guys weren't playing 16 games before the extra wild card and way before they went to 17 games.
Yeah. Look, DJ, I'm with you on this. I'm with you. Like I do believe there's a difference of urgencies in those things. I think about the NBA and I think about how the old school players talk about it. Like I've heard Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce and them talk about like Jordan playing 82 games and how important it was to do that, and how some of the injuries we're seeing is because training camp is different. It's not the rigors that you have to take. All of it kind of factors in because people do have that. And then I think about that, but then I think about like the LA Rams and how Sean McVay has operated and how he has put preservation over everything when it comes to making sure his team are healthy at the beginning. But then I think about Andy Reid running a very old school traditional training camp and how they jump out to fast starts traditionally. I don't know, man. I think you have to know your team and know where you're operating. But to me, I still feel like toughness and physicality eventually went out. You see it. You've seen how the Chargers have been prepared. And even though you have injuries, I don't believe, look, you can't operate scared when it comes to it. Like some of it is like, this is what we have to do to get ready. If we lose a player along the way, we don't want to, but sometimes it's just kind of the cost of getting your team ready to play at a high level.
Yeah, no, it's a factor all around the league. There's a lot of teams down players. And so I just think it's interesting if you look at kind of the root cause of that. I don't know that anybody's really done the homework and gone all the way back to really how it's changed. Sports landscape has changed at the high school level and at the college level and then at the professional level. I just think there's a different urgency. You use that word, different urgency placed on the regular season in years past. And now it's just punch your ticket, man. Get your ticket to the tournament and then we'll see what happens once you get there.
Yeah, I mean, it is. Everyone is just trying to dance. And that's why, look, I say this, and I don't know how you can incentivize people to remain, I would say, committed to winning division titles and those things, right? Because right now you only have one team that receives a bye. And so you look for the number one seed. If you don't have a reasonable chance of getting the number one seed, you make decisions based on either matchups or the preservation of your best players. Maybe you have to find a way to create incentives for that. And I'm not talking about monetarily, but something when it comes to it. That's why I don't believe that you should take away the division winner thing because they get home field. And regardless of whether the record is whatever, that's an anomaly. That's not something that happens every year. So you don't want to lose that. But there has to be a way to encourage people to play their players and to get them ready to play so they're available.
Yeah, no question. We have seen some trades this week and not like any give up trades, really, just kind of this guy can help you. Maybe that guy can help me, or a little disappointing player for me, disappointing player for you. Let's change scenery and see if it works out. But it's been a pretty active week of trades. And I think that goes back to what we've been saying for a while, which is this is a new breed of general manager that's way more open to this stuff.
How about this? And look, man, living it out real time, watching the Jaguars trade away Tyson Campbell for Greg Newsome. And what's funny, DJ, is like, you always reference your reports and you go back and you're like, man, I like this player. You go back and you look like, oh, I really like this player. And so like Tyson Campbell and Greg Newsome, I just remember, man, I really like Greg Newsome coming out. Then you go back and you read your report and you go back and you look at the videos that you've done when you're talking about the player from Pro Day and those things and how much you liked him and how sometimes I feel like these teams are making what I call win-win trades, win-win propositions for both people. Tyson Campbell goes to a situation where he is now playing more man-to-man because that's how Jim Schwartz wants to play. That is better for his skills because he's a great athlete, not a great ball player in terms of like being able to play the ball. He just doesn't see it well. And then Greg Newsome was a high IQ player who had versatility at Northwestern, could play inside, outside, had a very expansive toolbox. Now you put him in a situation where he's playing in a defense that's a vision and break defense that helps. But the other part of it, and it hasn't been out there, but they swapped someone who was under a big contract, 4 years, $76 million that he was signed to before last season. Greg Newsome is in the last year of his deal playing on the 5th-year option. We talked about the emergence of Devin Lloyd as a guy who might win. Well, that 5th-year option
some of that scratch coming his way.
Potentially, you're trying to set the books. So, man, if we really like this player, we got to figure out a way to keep him. How can we do that? You shed someone who's making big money to create an opportunity to sign somebody else to make big money. No one has said that, but it doesn't take much to read the tea leaves and be like, maybe they're setting something up so they can call the agent before the end of the season and be like, hey, let's get this deal done.
Yeah. Well, do you think after this week, we'll see it again? It's another data point where you'll see some teams slide a little bit further. I mean, we saw a little bit of a flurry this week. Yeah. I think next week could be a fun one. Next week, we could see the bigger dudes going.
Yeah, because look, a third of the season will be done. You kind of know where you're at. You know, after 6 games, if you're at 1-5, probably not going to happen for you. Mm-hmm. So now we got to start thinking
26. Now we're looking at 26.
Yeah, like now you start thinking about, hey, how can we set the roster up for next year? What can we do? Let's get the young players on the field. You begin to have those real conversations. It's unfortunate that all the hope and optimism can go away real quick in the league, but that's the reality of it. Yeah, I think we will see more movement. We'll see a flurry of players. And you're right, DJ, our generation are sitting in those seats now where you're making decisions and people are trading players in exchange for another player. And yeah, 6th, 7th round pick. Yeah, just throw it in there. Whatever we need to do to make the deal work, like, it's fine. That's what we're seeing, which is kind of funny because, like, I feel like everyone is throwing in a 6th or a 7th round pick at the end. Like, yeah, whatever. Like,
well, by the way, don't you think we should just use a group text from a GM standpoint? You know how it goes. You're in those buildings. It's like, hey, here, let's divvy it up. We got these 4 guys. You call these, 8 teams. You call these 8 teams, and we're going to let them know that player X is available. What, guys? Come on, man. Group text got all the GMs on there. Joe Smith, guys, come and get them.
Who wants them? Who wants them? Hey, just send me your best offer by 8 a.m. the next day, and we'll kind of figure it out, see if we can work it out or whatever. Yeah, it's funny to hear the mechanics of how these trades are being pulled off. But yeah, like, you have a very aggressive generation of general managers that aren't afraid to swap out, make moves to see if they can help their team.
Yeah, I guess the only thing it would be reported publicly in about 30 seconds after you send it. But I guess if you really want to trade him, you'd be okay with the name getting out there. So it's funny. All right, Buck, let's jump into it. We got one in London. We've got Broncos Jets over there. I know I saw, when you're asking Sean Payton, is this a look over him game? And he gave kind of the look. These are all professional teams. Like the Jets are capable of beating people, so you can't look past them. But this is one on the surface. It looks like it should be a comfortable one for how bad the Jets have been.
It does look like that, but as soon as you start thinking that, DJ, what happens? The Tennessee Titans find a way to knock off the Arizona Cardinals, the Cleveland Browns, knock off the Green Bay Packers. I mean, this is just what the league is. The challenge and the trick for the Denver Broncos is, can you maintain that same level of focus that you had against the Philadelphia Eagles last week to take on the Jets? And if you're the Jets, you're 0-5. People are saying, like, you're a worse outfit than the previous version. How do you fix the turnovers? How do you fix the turnovers? DJ, I was looking at this thing and I was researching, like, the turnovers, and Pete Carroll is all about the ball. DJ, all the teams that have a -4 or worse differential in turnovers, their combined record is 6-24. Whew. Like, just the turnovers are the thing that are killing you. If you can just take care of the ball, it gives you a chance. But if you are reckless with the ball, you have no shot of winning in this league. So the first thing that I would do with the Jets, who are number 1 in takeovers, man, let's just find a way to end every drive in a kick. And I know it sounds cliche, but literally, let's punt it, let's kick a PAT, let's kick a field goal or whatever. But let's make sure we don't give away the game, because in giving it away, you have no chance of being able to win it.
Yeah, I would also echo that with penalties. It seems like on a weekly basis that the more penalized team is having a hard time winning ball games, timely penalties at that. So you got Broncos, Jets there. Rams, Ravens on the schedule comes out, Buck. Fired up about that game. Now it's not so much.
Yeah, now you've been in that building because you've been in there. And I've always felt like the Ravens are one of the few franchises that no matter where they're sitting, sometimes they can find a way to galvanize themselves to kind of orchestrate a turnaround. John Harbaugh has been on the gig for a long time. He's seen it all. He's been able to kind of help them bounce back. And Lamar may or may not come back because their bye week is right after this. To me, I think the wounded animal is dangerous. And can they muster it up? But they have been so bad.
Defense stinks.
Defense, man. I never thought we would get to the point where a team and a franchise that's been synonymous with great defenses are this bad. I mean, they're terrible.
They made a trade. They made a trade, brought over Louis Gilman, who's really one of the good dudes. Great dude. Didn't he play with
Hamilton?
Yeah, didn't he play with him? I have to go back and look that up. I'm pretty sure he did play with Hamilton. But yeah, they brought him over there to try and help out the back end a little bit. They've had some injuries, including Hamilton. So we'll see what the Ravens
CJ Gardner-Johnson was signed to the practice squad. They're definitely trying to figure out how to do the back end. That means that they're going to try and put Kyle Hamilton back in the spot where he can be the Swiss Army knife at the second level and do some of those things. But look, man, the Ravens have to get back to just doing what I would say the simple things well. Lining up, knowing what to do, running to the ball, tackling with force, not missing tackles on the perimeter. Get back to the basic things. They have been a team that has always been so exotic on defense that when it goes awry, I do wonder if they can get back to the fundamentals.
There's so many injuries, man. There's just so many injuries. Yeah, and Matabike is he was kind of the straw that stirred the drink there too, man. Like that's
And finally, after all those years, DJ, they don't have a dominant pass rusher up front.
No.
And Matabike was such a dominant player up front, not only against the run, but against the pass. They're missing that. And it's funny because they've drafted and they've tried to do that. But when I think about those vintage teams with Sizzle, Ray Lewis and those guys, they've always had multiple.
They've always had
multiple guys on the front line that could win their one-on-ones and get to the quarterback. They don't have that anymore. And so some of this is a right now effect, but literally some of it is the cumulative effect of not being able to stockpile the cupboard with a bunch of pass rushes and dominant players on the front line.
How about the game you're going to be at?
It's an interesting game. And this is an interesting game. And here's what I say, DJ. And we were on the movement when we talk about the reclamation projects. And I believe the reclamation projects is going to be a trend next year that continues. Because as people begin to cast their eyes to the 2026 quarterback class in the draft, it is not what people thought it would be. So now the guys like Mac Jones, Daniel Jones, those guys go to the front of the line. People are going to be excited about taking on that project because Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield are prime examples of what happens when you kick the can on a former number one pick, put him in the right offense with the right coaching, and what can happen. Sam Darnold was absolutely dealing last weekend. The duo that he had with Baker Mayfield was everything that our ardent Sam Darnold supporters said that he would be. Now, it's taken some years, but that Sam Darnold has shown up. And what it shows you is, man, it's a long developmental process when it comes to quarterbacks, but it also takes a village around him to get it done. JSN being the playmaker that he is, Cooper Kupp being reliable, the running game that they have around him. And I'll say this, their offensive line isn't like one of the tops, but man, the weapons,
they're much
firepower around him.
Yeah.
Ooh, the firepower around Sam Darnold enables him to do what he has the potential, that he's always had the potential to do, but now he's in the right system with the right cast to showcase it, like he was last year in Minnesota.
I don't know how many guys in the league are processing faster than Sam Darnold is right now. When you go back and you watch him every week, he's number 3, number 4 in the progression. He's in there.
Look, I'm not a quarterback guru, but here's what I would say. If I am a quarterback who has struggled, I'm going to see the Wizard. Mm-hmm. And the Wizard is some descendant of the Sean McVay / Kyle Shanahan tree. I'm going to spend a year there. I'm going to learn how to play the position. I'm going to do it. And I'm going to be a changed man after I see the Wizard. Sam Darnold went to San Francisco as a backup, learned the base part of the system. He gets the blessing from Shanahan as they start talking, goes to Kevin O'Connell, plays better when he has his opportunity in Minnesota, and now he's a different thing. Baker Mayfield goes from Carolina to the LA Rams, spends some time with Sean McVay, the Wizard. He is a different player when he shows up in Tampa. I don't know what they tell the quarterbacks. I don't know what they're teaching the quarterbacks. I saw Malik Willis go from Tennessee to Green Bay, show up and look like a much different player. I'm going to the Wizard. Yeah. Like whatever, the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, Mac Jones is a great example of that, So, I mean, he looks like a totally different player.
Hey, look, and it looks like, man, imagine if Kyle Shanahan had taken Mac Jones when maybe he wanted to draft.
I know, yeah, that changes history a little bit. All right, let's get to a couple more here. Lions-Chiefs at the Chiefs. That's going to be a big one, man. Kansas City, that feels like you almost got to have that one. This is a Lions team that's rolling right now.
Yeah, Lions team that's rolling. But here's what I would say, and I know you live it being in that division. I don't care what you say about the Kansas City Chiefs. DJ, there's not a fear factor, but there's an apprehension when you play them that number 15 is going to find a way to do it. Because when you really look at their team, they're okay. But man, number 15 is the one that makes or breaks them. And because he is so good, so composed, understands how to kind of game the system with his legs and scrambling and doing those things, they're never an easy out. And the fear is they find just enough wins to get into the tournament. And then you got to deal with him in playoff mode. This is a big game for them because they need to win to kind of stay in the thing. They don't want to fall too far off the path. And for the Detroit Lions, this is an opportunity to really announce yourself as like, yeah, you thought we were going away because we had all the change. We're still right here. John Morton has done a great job of taking this offense and continue to build upon it. I never envisioned them maintaining the physicality and fun, but he's done a really good job of doing it within his personnel.
There's a lot of different ways this thing could go, but I will say, like, everybody's just kind of, I'm not Kansas City, still Kansas City, and they're going to figure it out and they'll find time. And I'm just telling you that if Detroit goes on the road and beats the brakes off them, that conversation is going to change. And people are like, okay, well, that was the window. That window is shut. Like, as crazy as that sounds, it feels like this is that type of a week where narratives are going to be.
Well, it does, because when you look at the talent, right? When I'm looking there, and no disrespect to their personnel, when I look at who scares me, if we're doing the advanced report, Xavier Worthy, the quarterback. Everybody else, I'm okay with.
Yeah,
Chris Jones is
we've been begging him to get Brashard Smith more involved.
Yeah, and they did a really good job of creatively getting him there, but they don't have the firepower that they once had, and that changes because until they're able to either run the football or change the way that people play them defensively, they can't get the explosive plays. So everything is like not a hard down, but it's a hard, long drive that they don't get the easy gift plays that they used to get. Yeah, but you're right. Narrative changes this weekend if they lose.
Speaking of narratives, this is the narrative game. Everyone's going to be speaking in absolutes, as they always do. It's going to be the debate game. It's going to be the Commanders against the Bears, and everybody's going to say that one of those two quarterbacks is the second coming, and the other one stinks. That's going to be how it comes out. It's just the way it's all set up with Caleb and Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels won on the Hail Mary previously. Caleb had the big drive that brought him back in that game, which kind of gets forgotten. I saw Jaden last week. He's getting his legs back under him. His first game back, he got better as that game against the Chargers went along. They've been beat up at the wide receiver position, but they're running the ball well. The Bears have coming off some rest. It's on the road for them, but man, this is, again, for statement opportunities. This would be a big statement with these two quarterbacks being linked together. If Ben Johnson could take Caleb in there and have Caleb play really well.
Yeah, no, it'd be a big statement game. And you're right. Like Caleb's progress has kind of flown up under the radar. If he can have a big statement game against a guy that was QB2 in that draft class, it'll really open up the conversation in terms of the growth that he's made under Ben Johnson. And on the other side, the flip side, if Jaden Daniels continues to dominate and look like he's looked under Cliff Kingsbury, and this offense explodes with Deebo Samuel and the other playmakers that they have, we have a different conversation about the Commanders.
Yeah, looking forward to that game. It's a great weekend of games. I would encourage you, if you missed it the other day, we had Jim Nagy on from Oklahoma, their general manager. It was a fun conversation. I would encourage you to go back, check that one out. And we'll be back next week as we kind of break down everything that we saw. Really looking forward to a wonderful weekend of football. Appreciate you hanging with us. We'll see you right here on Move the Sticks.